And research has been mostly focused on identity, particularly Canadian national, celebrity, communal, and individualized identity through the lens of performance. Through the study of these differing identity tropes and the relationship with performance, I now question, when is my body performance, and when is my body being authentic? When is my body just being? Does the authentic state exist beyond a connection to the performative? If every moment of life is performance to the audience around us and within us, does performance even exist to begin with? My research explores the relationship between scenography, embodiment, and authenticity of self. Specifically, I question how our physical appearance, movement, gesture, and perception of oneself function as performance in both the theater and within the passage of everyday life. Our mind bodies operate scenographically, both performing and revealing inner identity. Garments act as a scenographic extension of the self, an interface between the authentic and the performed. I'm drawn to how we use costume, fashion, and design to negotiate or bring forward our own identities, and how these choices can both express and obscure who we are. Through this, my thesis project has begun to take shape as a performative fashion runway, where garments will be individualized to each performer, acting as a self-extension of their identity, exploring their inner being on their outer being. Each body is its own performative vessel, all working together in unison to create what we know as the performance of life. Examining different types of bodies has led me down a rabbit hole of the academic study of chronically ill and disabled artists, those who use and integrate their pain and fatigue into their own creative practices. Rather than seeing illness as a limitation, different grip theory scholars reframe it as an aesthetic and ethical methodology. It's been transformed into a way of crafting that values care and rest, rather than creating theatrical works for an ideal audience. Disability-led performance satirizes theater culture's obsession with perfection. Exhaustion, stillness, or fragmentation themselves become scenographic tools and materials. In disability-led performance, fatigue and pain are no longer hidden or overcome in the pursuit of productivity. They become the texture of the work by shaping the mise-en-scene of the performance. Disability scholars call this notion crib time, a time organized around the care and rest and the interdependence of the performer, rather than any profit or outcome. Rest, pause, and bodily exhaustion themselves are scenographic. A performer's fatigue, hesitation, and breath carry just as much meaning as any accompanying spectacle or event. There are a lot of crossovers between crip theory and queer theory, with many scholars exploring the queer body as its own living archive, where gesture, repetition, and mannerisms embody accumulated histories, both personal and cultural. Recurring gestures or expressions become part of the performer's embodied identity, not just a style, but memories inscribed within the body. Queer performance blurs the line between the personal and the performative. The queer body doesn't merely represent identity, it produces it. The performer's body and their clothing are both archives of lived experience. The garment and the body together reveal how identity is always in motion and is always being performed. Garments emerge from the individual's lived experience, becoming scenographic translations of their archives and extensions of memory rather than disguise. To me, scenography is not just the visual world of performance. It's an architecture of perception, shaping how authenticity is experienced. Lighting, costume, and movement frame the body, destabilizing or reinforcing what we think is real. Presentation of self is a negotiation. Preparing oneself to be perceived is a negotiation between ourselves as a designer and ourselves as a wearer, about how the garment that you're wearing shapes and reflects your own identity, and thus your performance. Authenticity isn't only what someone looks like, but also how they feel, produced through relationship, fatigue, repetition, and vulnerability. Authenticity and performance are not opposites, they're collaborators. Authenticity isn't what remains when performance ends. is what emerges when performance and vulnerability overlap. In my work, I aim to stage this overlap. Authenticity is performative. It's an action and not a state. Perhaps the most authentic moments occur when performance falters, when the body collapses under the weight of what it's asked to carry. In that collapse, authenticity reveals itself as fragile, performed, and profoundly human. Thank you.